The government of Ghana's Agenda 111, which aims at providing 101 district hospitals, will commence on Tuesday, the 17th of August, 2021. The project will also see to the provision of 2 specialized hospitals, one for the Middle Belt, one for the Northern Belt of the country. These are psychiatric hospitals. And then a redevelopment of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. There will also be the development of 6 new regional hospitals and 1 extra regional hospital for the Western region. The District Hospitals project, as you recall, was first announced in April 2020 by President Akufo-Addo during his 8th COVID update to the nation. And it is programmed to take between 12 months to complete each one from the point of commencement. You recall earlier, I think there was a bit of confusion that it was 12 months from the date that he had mentioned it, but that was not the point, and we sought to clarify that for each project, you expect that it will take 12 months to complete once it is commenced. So the program is to take 12 months for each unit from the point of commencement. And these are 101 of the district hospitals before you add the other facilities we are talking about, all making 111. Now, since its announcement, the Project Implementation Committee, chaired by Chief of Staff Madam Akosua Fremont Oseo-Pare, has been delivering a number of objectives. 1, to secure the physical location of 101 sites. Currently, they have secured 88 of those 101 sites. Not just securing the physical location, but also securing title to the parcels of land, 88 out of 101 so far. And each of these parcels is about 15 acres to be able to do the kind of facility based on the architectural drawings that they are putting up. They've also been procuring the services of consultants. You know, for all of these projects, they are what you call project consultants. So the project itself, the master project itself, has its consultant. And then for every particular site, every one of the 101 sites, like is done in every construction project, you need the consultants and then the contractors who are working on it. They've also been delivering this since that time. They've also been working to secure funding for it. Currently, commencement funding of $100 million has been made available to the project through the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. For the projects themselves, it's budgeted at nearly $17 million for each of the district hospitals. The district and specialized hospitals are being funded by the government of Ghana, but for the regional hospitals, EPC arrangements have been made that come with their own funding associated with it. Contractors for the various projects have also been procured and are commencing work, with the first set starting from this week. Preference was given to local contractors and local labor, because it will also be the demonstration of what we call Ghanaian excellence. That will, among other things, showcase what the Ghanaian construction and engineering community is also capable of doing. The project is expected to deepen healthcare delivery at all district levels and ensure that the Ghanaian can access high-quality healthcare at all district levels. It will also provide thousands of jobs for the healthcare staff who are going to be recruited and posted to these 111 facilities across the country: district hospitals, specialized hospitals, regional hospitals. It will also provide jobs for the ancillary workers, beyond the healthcare workers themselves. In every one of these facilities, you have ancillary workers who provide services that support the core healthcare exercise that is going on there. And then there's also critical housing that is being provided attached to these hospitals. It is expected that the housing and the local services associated with these projects would also add a new layer to the local economic activities in service of our local communities. The government calls on all, especially the local beneficiary communities, traditional leaders, youth, and all actors in the local health sector to give their full support to this project for the benefit of our people across the country. On Tuesday, President Akufo-Addo will observe the commencement of works at Trede in the Ashanti region. And immediately afterwards, other contractors in the other districts are expected to commence work. Local communities are encouraged to take a keen interest and to support not just the commencement of works in their local area, but also to follow up on the progress of work in the upcoming months. So this is a quick brief that we have to share with you. It will be one of the most significant single batch of healthcare infrastructure projects that our country would have embarked on since independence. And we believe it's important to rally the whole country behind it. And through you, we believe that we can reach the country. I'm going to just take this brief very quickly in Chi and take any questions you may have on it. And then we'll move on to our second brief. May I also mention that throughout this construction process of about 12 months, we will be providing regular updates and site visits with you so that you can also see and report to the country what is ongoing there. So as much information as we have, I'll make available to you. What we do not have, we'll take note of it, and as we go along, we'll be making it available at least on a monthly basis during this exercise that we'll embark on together. So I'll take it quickly in Chi, and then we'll go to the viruses. Ghana buying at the Ejuma-BC and so I friend agenda 111. April, I fear Babesin Kwe, no man penny Akufo-Addo di kan ebo hu dewro. Sabre no na ye hu se your districts be a any district hospital beye eduowotwe ehia se ni monim na ye behwe na ye provided district hospitals amount. Uye no free hwa specialized hospitals bit is a psychiatric hospital. Fane say anafo haya na ne bi wakra enem se ankafo ni ade na abenya psychiatric hospital. In free ntem ho ene etifi ntem ho ne bi ni ho. Nti eno so chiri o mampani ye say yemfa mienu nka ho ba ko be won free ntem ho na ba ko awo etifi ntem ho. Ansa na Accra Psychiatric Hospital na nkasa na be hia redevelopment. Regions in Siafo na ayaye no e also omunya regional hospitals. And say Western region ombe hia say extra one ohwe dynamics na e wo ho no. And unti no kani na bomu a ebedu oha eni du baako agenda 111. Na no na benada e be kro bi e friend Trede e wa Ashanti region. Ye fi ase e wo mampani na nkasa ebekọ e de nani akohwe abra contractor for no efi adwuma ase ewo ho potoka se me friend commencement of works na se na me kan April afia besin ko no mampani di kan etu din no tu din na se mo kan ne se e wo se omu fi ase a bosome dumienu ntam no omu ewie em se sa abre no na nti ase ni bi ne se fitida o kan no bosome dumienu ntam na so omu wie nti to de bi abete se nkofo se na se project no kra en sha ase me gi se da ye ni em se road minister ba ye kire mu se ye kan project a enema hodo okoso ansa na wafi ase ehu se ebia edan na nkasa yesi asase sem to de bia soil tests ne nke kan ho ne ade nyina we emre ababesin koi committee a ehwe project no so chief of staff madam Akosia Fremo se opare da no adwuma o maye ne se districts 101 ne nyina no sabre ya me no ka se district oha ene ba ko no emu eduowotwe nwotwe yensa kan asase ba ko bi asase tam 15 acres ene wo ho ba ko bia wo se o mutu nipa ekokohwe ampa asase ni nsu wo so ana senete wo kwan ho ana ni kwan ho ana sesen o ma ni na wi apart from o mu de o mani ankasa ekohwe asase no so no wo hia asase no ho krata sebe wontumi nkonkosi edan nsi obi asase so brofu mu no mo se unencumbered land asase bi ho abekọ na ntokwa wo so enti e wo so o mu edi akire hwe se asase no ho krata na ade nyina wo so o mu saka ansana consultant a behwe project we say wo ye project a say aban ye project a fa project consultant ona or hwe contractor na adwuma na wa issue certificates now they ama aban na aban so atumi hu sampa consultant hu si aye nti wo say project bi asa na ye no we 111 nature say we can project ni na agenda one anankasa ne master consultant na fi project ba ku bia te say the beba of one say aye bi no e o say wo consultant a ono so ebe wo example keke na mema e o say ma consultant a ono so ebe wo because ono be wo sa site ho na wa hwe dia e koso nti o ma consultancies ni na awie ansa na contractors so o ma ye ho adwuma awie contractors no Ghanaian contractors, any baby ebenya Ghana labor, eno na omo ama omani akoho. Ti adwuma omo ye no bonse Ghanaian contractors, dodo na ene eye, ansa na preference for Ghanaian labor so. Na adwuma we wi a ye hwe anim se bema apomuden ho nsem a e wo district bia mu apagya. Districts bebre wo ho a fit independence besi nne no. So wo yare bi mu oden a je se de wo kɔ district foforo mu ansa na wanya ayarehwe. Me me district ye mfa to ho a saa nete obi yare a gise de ne kɔ bi odan na se buedu a na se abrim ye ntumi hwɛ no wɔ district mo because you need district hospital and district anya kra no be 101 districts and you need district hospital and I say bi nhye dan me om enti wo be hu se we de dikan ne se bema apomuden munsem ana se ayarehwɛ sese our district bia mu wo ye no free ho a ebema nyuma aba so far the average number of people a year juma or district hospital you see 60 bed district hospital far the average number of people or nurse for matron for doctor for anesthetist for my year juma mortuary or my year juma ha healthcare workers nankasa any or my year shift near there now they multiply by 111 thousands mpimpim any benya juma to bon say ye mrante any mbebu bi awie nursing training colleges ne health training colleges ne ade a bi pa adwuma no sisi akonya bibie project we nti mo so anya kwan enya adwuma wo ansa na apart from mo eye health adwuma na nkasa so no poto kasem ye obi be friend ancillary workers wo mo a eye adwuma de boa doctor for ne nurse for na nkasa e wo ho no wo mo so ebenya adwuma wo ho obi wo ho a opera obi ton nsu obi ye aduane kitchen staff ne nyinara wo mo so benya adwuma no edanso esen thousands now omo benya adwuma as health workers ankasa e wo ho no ye wadan kakra doctor for ne nurse for no your friend critical housing etare ho nti wo fa no ne other local activities a ebeka ho a ye hwe anim se mpuntu won kakra eba wo mantem we ba beka ho ma no akonanim aban sre obi biara Ghana ni ba biara aban sre se yemfa esunsum ne empa ebo ne ahoden entire project we echi na no matena nkonwa a ewo communities ahodo a project yi ebam mrantie ne mebu a ewo communities ahodo a project yi bam wonu me di apo time kan ebna da ebe trade e wa Ashanti region e hono mampani di nani be kwa kwhwe adwuma contractor for no efi ase omoye o wie ni saa no so na contractors ahodo a e adwuma o site ahodo no omo so eko obi afi ne di ase a ye hwe anim se bosome dumienu ntem no obewie ye ko anim no abreni abrebia ye ne mo bedi nkita ho ya bo ho deru ama mo hu se aha ne akosi se bibi tu ye okwan mu a ehun komo a wosi de be ma mo so ate na mo so emrepom no a wo se ye ne mo ko site ekokwohwe adwuma ekoso no site visit ne ade no ye ne mo aye ni na we ni emsen komobo a aban ede to edwa e wo sasem we colleagues, so out bring down the curtain on this first brief. Now is when we'll take your questions, and then we'll close the subject on this one, and then we will go for the second brief. So if you have a question. I see Sarah at the back. And then I'll come to Kweku, right? So then I'll come to Kweku before I move to the right. So I'll take this as a first batch, and then we'll come back. Yes, Sarah, let's hear you.
Honorable, please, I would like to find out, is the project starting one-off across all the districts, or it will start from region to region? I also want to find out what is the estimated workforce we are expecting to participate in this particular project as a country, looking at the unemployment rate, and how many Ghanaian-led companies are involved in this particular project. Finally, some experts have doubted the feasibility of this project, even though it is yet to start, looking at the fact that government starts huge projects as such, and then at the end of the day or along the line, we have them stalling. You mentioned $17 million for each project.
District hospital.
District hospital. Is it an average, or that is the specific amount estimated so that we do not have the situation where the project is stalled, that there are no more funds? I just want to find out. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are about 6 or 7 barreled questions. Let me come to Kweku, and then I'll come this way.
So just to follow from where she left off, I want to know how much the entire project will cost. That is the 101 district hospitals, the regional hospitals, and all the other facilities. And then you mentioned that 100 million has been made available for the commencement of the project, as well as other parts of the project will be funded through facilities. I want to know if those are loans, and where exactly are we procuring those loans from, and how much loan are we taking in furtherance of this project? Thank you.
Thank you, Kweku. Let me come this way. There were 3 here. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I'm Musa Lansar with GH1 TV. A couple of weeks ago, the Member of Parliament for Boko Central suggested that we use the Engineers Regiment of the Ghana Armed Forces to roll out such a policy that it will be much more cost-effective using the Engineers Regiment. Are we considering giving a part of this project to the Engineers Regiment so that we can save money and also look at how we can speedily complete it, looking at what we did during the outbreak of the COVID pandemic?
Yeah, thank you very much. You did indicate that 88 parcels and titles have been secured. What is the status of the remaining, and are we having difficulty securing those lands? Yeah.
Thank you. My name is John Awuni. I just want some clarification. Since 1992, the world has been celebrating World Mental Health Day. But when you come to Ghana, you realize that we have few mental hospitals across the country, especially the middle belt and the northern belt. We don't have any mental hospital. Out of the Agenda 111, how many of such will be allocated for mental health? Because you go to some parts of the country and you see that people who are mentally deranged are normally bathed with very hot water as a way of treating the disease. So how many of the Agenda 111 will be mental hospitals to help solve mental health problems in Ghana?
Thank you. So I'll give responses to these, and then I'll take a final batch of questions on Agenda 111, unless there will be more. Now, I think in my brief earlier, I mentioned that the total is 111 facilities, but they are broken down into different ones. There are about 101 district hospitals. There are also 2 specialized hospitals, and I mentioned that those 2 specialized hospitals are psychiatric hospitals, one for the middle belt, one for the northern belt, because the southern belt has at least a couple. So to answer your question specifically, there are 2 of them, middle and northern belt. Additionally, the Accra Psychiatric Hospital is to be redeveloped as part of this. So those would be the specifics therein. What is the status of the outstanding districts that we have not secured land and title for? So you typically need, for the designs that have been done, you need about 15 acres for these projects, which will accommodate everything from OPD to the various departments, labs, pharmacies, mortuaries, etc. So the development covers about 15 acres. As we go along, we will share with you the impressions and the drawings, etc., because we'll walk the journey with you for the next 12 months. There are some districts, particularly in the Greater Accra region, where you cannot find 15 acres of land lying in the heart of some of these districts. You know, as we did our district redevelopment, we cut some of the old, for example, Accra Metropolitan was then cut into smaller ones. Look at Accra's development. So if you are looking for 15 acres of virgin land, you will struggle to find it as at now. So some modifications have been made for some of these ones to build upwards so that you can save a bit of land. And in furtherance to that, some parcels of land have been made available, but you need to cross those stages. Secure the parcel, so is it now 7 acres or 6 acres? And then secure the title to land. You know the story of Accra lands and questions of title. But you can't hold back the whole project because you haven't finished with some of these specific ones. that you are still in the process of completing access to land and to title. So they've gone very far, the teams have gone very far, and we expect that in the shortest possible time, those will be added onto it. But we have to start, we can't wait for those ones as well. During the COVID time, the Engineers Regiment did not build district hospitals of this nature. So I think anybody who starts by trying to make a comparison like as was done during the COVID time, they can do the same here, is mixing apples and oranges. It's not true, it didn't happen. We acknowledge that our Engineers Regiment have the capacity to do some very speedy work and good work. But across the country in 111 locations, the question will be whether they will have the capacity to do all within this time frame at this point in time. So for those who want to do that analysis, those are things that they have to factor into it. That notwithstanding, the answer is no. We have not gone that route. We have decided to go the natural route for putting up healthcare infrastructure across the country. And this is how it's traditionally done, and this is how it's being done. Kweku, I mentioned that $100 million United States dollars has been made available for commencement funding. And then, because this project will naturally, most likely go across 3 budget cycles, 2021 to 2022, 2022 to 2023, and then, you know, they have this period of defect when you are done with the project, by which time they'll pay you your final, that will lead probably into the 3rd budget cycle. So allocations are being made or have been made across the various budget cycles in the medium-term expenditure framework for what the government of Ghana is bearing. The rest, as I mentioned, is EPC, engineering, procurement, and construction. And so the contractor will come with funding for it, and we'll do the numbers of those ones as we go along those ones. You notice that, as I mentioned, we're starting off with the district projects first, and the EPCs are the regional projects. So we'll get into that one as we go along. The contract sums are just under $17 million for the projects. Those are the estimates. For those of you who are familiar with engineering and construction, you know that we always like to talk about the contract sums or the cost as at the time of contracting. As you go along, if there is a need for some sort of variation or anything, we'll all be apprised of it. If I may be permitted to tell you a little story, I was a journalist actively practicing when the Jubilee House was being built. And there was this confusion between the figure that was given at contract time and when the question was answered in Parliament. And I recall Mr. Kojompianim, who was the Minister for Presidential Affairs at the time, answering and even making a joke that for anybody who has put a building together before, you know that sometimes there may be variations. So I think what we need to be clear on is the costs as at the time of contracting. If there's a need for any variation of whatsoever nature, this process is going to be done very transparently. We'll be here with the project consultants and the spokespersons for the project, and they would be able to explain if need be. But for now, it's about 12.88 million for the civil works, and about 4 million in terms of all the equipment that are required. That brings it to about 16.88 million, give or take, a little under $17 million for each one of these projects. Sarah's 5-barrel questions. So, Sarah, I think my answer to the 17 million will also answer yours. There are those who have raised feasibility doubts. That is it possible? So let me say a few things. First of all, I mean, for any grand project of this nature, one of the questions that will come up is it possible? So it's a fair question. That is it possible? Because to build 111 of these projects across the country has various issues you have to answer. One is the funding, which I think we're talking about now. The other even is finding the technical hands for each one of these projects. You need engineers, you need civil engineers, you need, I think in the hospital construction, they have some type of engineers. Biomedical engineers. How many biomedical engineers do you have in Ghana? What projects are they on already? How many of them can you find to supervise all of these ones? So it's a humongous task, nonetheless. And I think it is for those reasons that some may ask questions about feasibility, that is it possible? But you know there are all societies that are able to do daring things. They start off by challenging themselves that this is possible and we can do it. When Obama was shouting, yes, we can in America, we're all clapping here. They can, we can't. No, we've got to challenge ourselves to something daring. But we also need to approach it not with a sense of it will fail, say it won't succeed. No, we have to approach it, and I want to appeal to you, colleagues in the media in particular, we have to approach it by whipping up the spirit of Ghanaian exceptionalism. That, listen, if we focus on this and we put all hands on deck, we can get it done. And so a very big team, a very large team of consultants, engineers, specialists from all over have been put together. They are handling the various projects. And we expect that gradually, whatever challenges come up, there will be challenges. There will be challenges, but gradually, whatever challenges that come up, are challenges that can be scaled. My understanding is that almost all the companies that are doing this are Ghanaian-led, if not all. Almost all of them, if not all, are Ghanaian-led. When the consultants join us, if we have any further specifics we want to raise with them, we can. But that's the brief I have as at now. I can check for you the numbers on the workforce in terms of construction workers and in terms of the employment numbers, and we'll share those briefs as we go along. We're starting off on Tuesday in Trede, and as I mentioned, the other contractors soon afterwards will be starting off at the various districts across the country, and I expect your correspondents, etc., in various parts of the country will also be updating us. Then we start counting everybody's clock, 12 months from there, and if there are challenges or anything, we open up and talk about them. I'll take a final batch of questions now for Agenda 111, and then we'll move to, what's the plural for virus? Viruses, or virus. Virus. Yes, sir. Viruses. Okay, so I'm educated. Nana?
Yeah, good afternoon, Honorable Sir. When the committee, the committee that is responsible for this project went to the various districts, what was the reaction? Were they welcome, or they made some stiff opposition, and what did they do to secure the lands? And then my second question has to do with, most often when we are doing projects, and the government who is doing it does not finish on time, because there may be some challenges here and there. The next government comes, most often we don't put it aside, we don't continue. What's the guarantee that this project that is so dear to the heart of Ghanaians, when in the time, or maybe in an unlikely event that it couldn't be succeeded on time, you can do some, you can't finish all, then are you making sure that any government comes, continues it, because it's of very importance to the whole country? Thank you.
Thank you, Nana. Yes, sir. The gentleman in the polo shirt, let me take him first, and then I'll take the blue kaftan.
Yeah, I'm questioning from Net2 TV. Right, Secretary. Papacho, maybe say contractors no be adwuma. Obetimi publish omudin new company na my say na ya actually be betimi yes betimi monitor. Because waka say omu be see 111. After 12 months na bebe mu na akoye 50. Yakoba na sa na ye hu na de say point nti be see ye hu contractors ni na say na be betimi yes monitor. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. Isaac Otin, Untumi TV. Sir, but me busa say 111 district no do no. Osha regions ni bi wo ha. District say most of them no hospitals in Bebre ni ho. Region do a ye wo ha 16 no. Region do sen na e do so wo. Me fancy bi Ashanti region bi a 20 district no sen na ye nya free each region. And secondly, Ubo Sika, yes, say was our project.
Yes, sir, no, Sika,
Yadishim,
investment.
Yenim say, Pempi, no project because say, a bedroom baby na a jai, a babusa, Sika, Yadishim, no asa. Sikano, I read ya, yem pese, a bedroom baby near Jaina, a cofa issues for Framba, be within the timeline. No, a person who said it,
Medasipa. I'll come back to you. I want to check if there are any other hands. Because you've spoken already, then I'll give you the final one. You have a question? Yes. Statesman, right? Yeah.
Good afternoon, Honorable.
Good afternoon, my brother.
My name is Paul, and I want to find out from you the mode of land acquisition. Because we are in the country whereby when you go and start a project somewhere, because of the scarcity of land, people go after each other and asking for land title and chasing each other for the land. How did the government obtain the lands? Was it bought or it was given for free? Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable, I need some clarification. Does the 111 include the hospitals the president sought for commencement last year? That is, for example, the La General Hospital, the Ifia Quanta hospitals. Does it include the 111?
Any other questions? Okay, so let me quickly take the key ones. The American kind no, ejuma ye no. Ade a yebibie so ma ye kɔ nyina no, obia ani adi akire. Na se even nsɛm bi wɔ hɔ a na wie me gyina ha mi nia no ye kura ye kɔ anim ne atumi ayi ano. Ma me fa covid ne mfa to. Mfiti ase ne start ye no. Bɛka a na ubeti na report bi nam ha report bi nam ha. Ba ye nyina ye te ase sɛ Ghana Health Service any DNM on be mobilize data ni na you be create web page near the ni na egu so abreni abrebiano. So say yenye press briefing crowd wow to me kokohwe na when numbers no any district near the frame. Sa pepe na we say ye be no. Enti to say specific districts no contractor or ye stage a wedu. E ade a ye kɔ anim nyina ye be update mfoni kakra wo say kan ne ade ye be update say umpo unko hɔ a ade a obetumi anya sa information na person validate po a wetumi akɔ validate ye no and we say be nya da ba akɔ ade ye no abra ye kɔ anim ya ubenya contractors e was specific site so na dia waka echi ne dia kɔ anim no wetumi ehu at the same time so ubenya regional breakdown no say region way ahene wom region way ahene wom region way ahene wom ntini na ye be provide sa data no sa data na so na be mo hu so hospital bi ana ya kate sword de da no e kan we hu bi ana se nka ho ubenya sa data ni na wo se na me kan enye nkomo a ye di ndaba kwa wie e adwuma ye be na fe in fact wo the specialized hospitals ne regional hospitals ne kan ho a e be bro afe patoti emi ye o district hospitals no ya hye ne sa afe but wo the specialized any regional ne ke kan ho a from beginning to the end no kra de e adwuma ye ne mo be ye bia be ye mfie mienu kra nti sa data ni na be available. The abanye so aye ne say potokasa mo beka say ya prioritize funding no in the medium term expenditure framework. Ye won hye we say offer budget na apart from this year figures no bon say aye 2022 2023 2024 your friend MTEF medium term expenditure framework. Nti bon say sika yesu say ye de be hye ade we mu even though afie we ye de $100 million that's about 600 million cedis. Egu ho aye de yes adwuma no. Medium term expenditure framework no ya hyehyɛ na medium term expenditure framework na enye sika da hɔ ɛyɛ nsusun ya yesusun sɛ afie wei sɛ yɛhwɛ yɛ sika sɛ mu a yɛ discuss yɛ na bɛhyɛ mu ɛno kyerɛ sɛ titiri yɛ revenue mobilization no ɛwɔ sɛ kɔ so because we are government of Ghana 101 ɛwɔ sɛ revenue mobilization no ɛkɔ so na nyinaa yɛ ni di akyire making sure sɛ revenue no ɛba mu na yɛtumi ayɛ sɛ adwuma no mpɛn pii nkɔmɔ bi wɔ hɔ ɛwɔ sɛ we are in a country where sometimes we simplify our conversations. Mami Kanobo from Western country, we simplify our conversation. Hey, this road has not been fixed. Why? The government is not serious, doesn't want to fix the road. No, there's a lot that goes into it. Funding is one example. Even if you've put it in the medium-term expenditure framework, funding, revenue mobilization is an example. We brought the Ghana Revenue Authority here, and they showed you how out of the about 25% of GDP we should be getting, we're only getting about 15. The 10% is not coming. Doctors, accountants, lawyers, professionals, you were here that day. About 33,000 of them are not found on the tax database. My only regret is that you haven't told that story enough. But that's a different matter. But that's, for example, so if we want all of this to succeed, we must also take an interest in the other side of the conversation, which is the revenue mobilization conversation. Because it could be a brilliant thing we've started. But if the revenues are not performing, it's not that government has failed in the project or the thing has stalled or work on Agenda 111 has stalled following government failure to pay contract. Why is the work stalling? It's because the revenue is not coming. And we have a shared responsibility to draw the nation's attention to the why so that we can get these things done. So all that data will be on the website. Funding has been prioritized, but the truth is that revenues have to perform for the GOG component to be working. And it's our collective responsibility. That's what I guess we mean when we say we should be citizens and not spectators, so that we are not sitting in the stands and pointing that, see the striker, see the striker. but we are all participating in that conversation. Today, I'm making a keto ebini say, yedi ashe yesika semenimu. Nanso ebe ya, I just say se sika no yensaka. Nti ye nyina de wo se ye na sika ba foto nim na yedi tua contractor for no. E wo se ye nyesa obo se contractor no wa man contract. Wakobo besia wo bank because why mobilization and I say what the come on mobilization wakoye 15%. Not in the certificate but consultant na certify. But a two one was it begu photo no maya was a contractor no ni tua yede na project na install na bank okobo obesia wo ho no bank ne ho kire no na afi so ban san ko risk for say or the bail out banks no what am I say te enkomo e was biem let me simplify no too much. And then I think there was a question about the land acquisition exercise was a very difficult exercise. There are places where you go and the traditional council will give you a parcel of land. Then you find another group within the traditional council, especially places where you have chieftaincy and other issues, will now raise an issue that, no, we don't subscribe to this. In fact, there were places where the initial team, I think part in the Ashanti region, where the initial team came back that they failed to secure land. And the committee of the chief of staff had to send delegations there to call council meetings to get chiefs to begin to underwrite that will make this land available or that land before you could get a 15-acre unencumbered parcel of land available for that purpose. So it hasn't been a very easy exercise, but I think out of the 101, they have 88 now. And for the outstanding, I've explained to you the difficulties and how they are working to mitigate those difficulties. But work must start, and we must all rally behind it. There was a question about continuity, because this is a very important national exercise, and how do we guarantee it? One of the things that is going to happen is that the Health Committee of Parliament, the Bipartisan Health Committee of Parliament, and political parties are going to be engaged on the details of all of these projects and where they are situated and how it benefits, as we rally the national exercise behind it, so that there's total buy-in. This is not politics. This is for the lives of generations yet unborn. So those engagements are going to take place, I think, by the time Parliament resumes, so that there's a bipartisan understanding and support for it. We are not even looking at it in terms of continuity when governments change hands, even though it's a legitimate thing. But you need a general understanding of how we should support this project, so that if we have to prioritize funding, or if we have to go harder on people who are not paying their taxes, etc., so that we can mobilize money, we, in particular politicians, don't turn it around just to make political capital out of it. But we can rally behind that. Lisa, this is important if we're going to get a district hospital in these 101 communities. And that's why we need to rally everybody behind it. So, colleagues, I'll be hoping that you support these projects. You join us on the site visits. And if you have questions, please, you bring them forward, and then we get answers to them.